So what we, in short, what we have seen till now is xc of t, okay, xc of t, which is the input signal, and that input signal is going to be sampled, okay. xc of t is going to be sampled at by using an impulse train p of t, okay. So xc of t, and when you sample it, which is a multiplication operation, xc of t multiplied by p of t, what you get is a new waveform, which is again right now it is still a continuous time, xs of t, okay, xs of t, which is a multiplication of xc of t with p of t. Now here this xs of t is again an impulse train of varying amplitudes. The amplitudes resemble that as same as xc of nt, right. So the amplitude here of xc of t is xc of nt, and the time instance is at every t, at every nt time interval, right. So it was like you had some continuous time waveform multiplied by impulse train separated by t. So what you got here was something like this, right, something like this. So you had this impulse train, so these were separated at time instance of t, okay. So now this xs of t, when you convert this xs of t is then converted into, this is still a impulse train but of varying amplitudes. This is converted into x of n by making xc of nt, okay. So what you get is x of 0 will be same as xc of 0, x of 1 will be same as xc of 1, xc of t, and so on, okay. So this is what you get. Now this, yeah. So now let's look at this, okay. Let's see that we know that xs of t is equal to xc of t into p of t. What is p of t? P of t is a impulse train, okay. It's an impulse train which is summation n equal to minus infinity to infinity delta of t minus nt, okay. This is your pulse train. So this will be given as, if I want to get this guy inside into this one, what I have is summation n equal to minus infinity to infinity by using the shifting property, xc of nt into delta of t minus nt, okay. So this is what you get. Now what we have seen is, we have seen that xs of j omega was equal to 1 upon t summation n equal to, or k equal to k equal to minus infinity to infinity, okay, xc of j omega minus k omega s, right, k omega s. This is what we saw. Now here xc of nt into delta of t minus nt is the time domain expression, okay. So now if I want to take a Fourier transform of this guy, what will I get is xs of j omega will be equal to, if I am taking a Fourier transform of this guy here, is minus infinity to infinity xs of t into e raised to minus j omega t dt, okay. This is what you get. Now xs of t is given as minus infinity to infinity, and then this is given as, if you look at this equation here, this particular equation here, what I get here is summation n equal to minus infinity to infinity x xc of t into delta of t minus nt into e raised to minus j omega t dt. Now what we know here is that this guy here is xc of nt, right? This is nt, right? Yeah. So this, I just have to make this one change, which is this guy here is xc of nt. Okay. Now x continuous, that is. Now if you multiply this and get your integration, the output of this integration turns out to be summation n equal to minus infinity to infinity. I can get this guy out, x continuous of nt, I can get it out because it's a constant in this scenario, and this one is integral delta of t minus nt minus infinity to infinity e raised to minus j omega t dt. Now here delta of t minus nt is existing only at time instance nt, other than that it is a 0. So the integration output of this particular thing, the integration output of this guy turns out to be n equal to minus infinity to infinity xc of nt into this one turns out to be e raised to minus j omega n t. This is what you get. Okay, this is what you get. So now I know that my xc of nt, x continuous of nt is, I can write this as n equal to minus infinity to infinity. If I go on top, I know that x continuous of nt is same as x of n, right? The discrete time. This is what I have. The discrete time sequence, when I am converting it into, the continuous time sequence is converted into discrete time, those are the values that I get. So this will be x of n into e raised to minus j omega nt. This is what I get. Okay. Now this is what I have. If this is, if you look at it closely, right, this is equal to xs of j omega. This is what you have. This I will write this as equation 2. Okay, and this guy here will be my equation 1. This guy here will be my equation 1. Okay, and let's say okay. So now the thing is, what you have here is, let me just add a page here. Insert page after. Okay, yeah. So now what you have here is, this is what you have. So I know that this guy here, x of n, is existing here, right? This is x of n, x of n. This is having a relationship with xc of t, that is, this is equal to xc of nt at those time instances, and it is 0 otherwise, when it is not having any value. Okay, it is 0 when in any other time instant. Only for n as integer it exists. Okay, and integer values it exists. Okay, so now what will be the Fourier transform of x of n? X of n, we know that x of n, which is here, if I want to, this is a discrete time sequence, this is a discrete time sequence, and I know that another thing which I know is a Fourier transform, a discrete time Fourier transform, which is a Fourier transform of a discrete time sequence. Discrete time Fourier transform is given as x of e raised to j omega is equal to summation n equal to minus infinity to infinity x of n into e raised to minus j omega n, right? This is also what I have. Now this gives an interesting relationship. So if you look, if I make this as a equation 3, okay, if I look at equation 2 and equation 3, I get the relation. So for xs of j omega, okay, which is this guy here. So for this Fourier transform to be equal to this Fourier transform here, Fourier transform of xs of j omega to be equal to Fourier transform of x of e raised to j omega, what I need is, these are the two equations which have xs of j omega and you have x of e raised to j omega, okay, which is the discrete time Fourier transform of x of n. For them to be equal, okay, that is xs of j omega to be equal to x of e raised to j omega, I know that my omega has to be equal to omega t, okay. That is why it is that way is, if my omega t here, if my omega t is written as omega, then what will happen is I will get this particular equation, I will get this equation will turn into this equation, okay. Equation 2 will turn into equation 3. So what in short we can predict is the relationship between omega, which is your discrete time omega, discrete time frequency, is same as omega t, which is your, this is your continuous time frequency, okay, is having a relation with omega discrete time frequency, which is by a factor of t, okay. So what happens is xs of j omega, the continuous time Fourier transform of the sampled signal, is same as the discrete time Fourier transform of the sampled signal again in the discrete time domain when omega equal to omega t, okay. So that's what that's how the relationship comes. So what you have is this xs of j omega is equal to, I know that summation k equal to minus infinity to infinity xc of j omega minus 2 pi k by t. This is what I had already, right? So this in turn will be equal to summation k equal to minus infinity to infinity xc of j, okay, j omega by t minus 2 pi k by t. So this is also the fourth equation. So these are in short the relationships that you get. So we'll redraw this again, we'll redraw this part again, okay. We have got this equations now. So let me just summarize it. So you had a signal which was x continuous of t, okay. This was multiplied with p of t, okay, and when you multiplied this you got xs of t, okay, and this was converted into the whole thing was converted into a discrete time sequence from impulse train to that is, I'll just write it properly. So what was done was this impulse train, which was impulse train to discrete time sequence. This was done using another block, which equates your x of, what you get is x of n, which is same as your xc of nt, because your xs of t is xc of nt into this one, delta of t minus nt, okay. This whole block here is your C to D converter. This whole block is your C to D converter, continuous time to discrete time, because your input is a continuous time signal and your period here is t, okay. Your sampling period is t, and the output here is x of n, okay. So now the thing is the value that you get, x of n, is having a Fourier transform of x of e raised to j omega, which is same as your xs of j omega at omega equal to, or at omega equal to omega t. Okay, at omega equal to excess of j omega is same as excess of j omega is same as x of e raised to j omega at omega equal to omega t. Okay, so this is the relationship that you get. Okay, this is the discrete time Fourier transform, this is the continuous time Fourier transform, and they eventually turn out to be like the same at omega equal to omega t. That's